Good day, everyone. Our topic for today is describe the basic principle of cultural respect. How to show respect towards people from other cultures. As you get older, you'll meet a wider range of people from diverse cultures, not just from around the world, but sometimes within your own town or country. If you haven't met many people whose backgrounds are very different from yours, it can be hard to know how to respectfully engage with their culture. These guides offer some tips for learning more about them and about yourself. So it says there, from what has just been said, it follows that respect for persons has to take a person's cultural context into account. Respect has to expressed or shown in some way. Exactly what is counted as respectful behavior, and therefore what is perceived as an expression of respect can vary culturally. Therefore, to know whether someone else is being respectful, we need to have, if not certain knowledge of their cultural positioning, then at least some basic for a provisional presumption about where they are coming from. Similarly, to show respect to other, we need to have at least a basis for a provisional presumption about how our speech or action towards them will be perceived. So, what is culture? Culture is a complex idea we often use to the term to refer to things like food, holidays, clothing, music, and religion, but it also goes much deeper than that. Behaviors, costumes, beliefs, and values are also part of your culture. So when we meet people from different backgrounds, we can sometimes find that there are big differences in how we see the world, even if we dress in a similar way or speak the same language. So it says that respect means that you value the other person and deem them to be important. Respecting someone can be as simple as being part or present and really listening to what they have to say, being on time for meetings, and saying thank you.
Know your own culture. One of the best ways to understand other people's culture is to find and examine your own culture. Most of us take our background for granted and don't even realize that our customs and beliefs might seem strange to someone else. If you think of your own way of life as the default and everyone else's as a strange variation, it's hard to approach those differences with respect. To know more about our culture, we sometimes ask ourselves a question about the behavior that define our own culture. Like kita matanhayanon, the way we talk, atong tuno sa atong pagstorya, we define us as a Tanhayanon because of that. The behavior that we have as a Tanhayanon, the other cities would define that we are a Tanhayanon. Just like in Japanese people, they would never go inside without swapping your outdoor shoes for sleeper, like not just only in Japanese but also in Korean and in China. Whereas here in Philippines, the sleepers for outside was also the sleeper in inside. So if we did that too in Japan, Korea, or any countries that uses that culture, it is so strange for them. Here are the some ways to learn more.
Make friends. Get to know your friends' families and see how their actions, customs, and traditions differ from yours. You might be surprised to find how culturally different two people living in the same town can be. Finding friends can be also one of the most important things to do. You need to respect their traditions and you need to show them the respect that they want. Then, talk to people. When you meet people from a different culture, ask them about their lives. But be polite about it and remember that they don't owe you an answer and might not want to give it. Not everyone wants to explain everything about their culture. And if they are minority in the area, they might get asked the same questions a lot. Only ask if you have genuine interest in them as a person, not just an example of their culture. So if you talk to other people, you might also know your limitations of talking to them. Don't forget to listen their side and make sure you always have their respect in talking towards them. Next, read. Seek out books by and about people who are different from you. Memoirs, biographies, and other non-fiction books are an obvious way to learn about the facts of a country or someone's life. But also try to read novels that have been translated from other languages or written by people who might have a very different perspective on life in your own country. So, in reading, it can also help us to know the importance of the other cultures. Some are written by their words, and some are written by their hearts.
And watch movies. You get a more varied and nuanced perspective on a culture by seeing the kinds of fictional stories they tell. I watch K dramas for fun. As I watch the K drama, I notice that they bow every time they say thank you and sorry, and it helps me to recognize their own culture. Listen to radio shows and podcasts. Radio and podcasts often feature people in more informal conversational, which is another great way to get an insider's perspective on a different culture. And in the last, explore. Immersing yourself in a completely different culture through travel in an amazing way to understand how different others on life.
And don't stereotype. Sometimes learning a lot about a different culture through books, movies, or even travel and friends can lead you into a different trap stereotyping. You may think you know a lot about a culture or place, and sometimes that can make it tempting to show off your knowledge when you meet someone from that background. But it's not a problem to assume that everyone from one particular culture has the same perspectives and experiences. These assumptions can be pretty small and harmless. For example, not every Jewish person was raised observing a kosher dietary restrictions. Not even and not every English person loves football. But they can also be harmful if your assumptions about someone's traditions or beliefs lead you to prejudge and discriminate against them.
Appreciate the differences. Differences between us are what make life so interesting. The best way to respect from other culture is to strike balance between curiosity and appreciation. Ask questions if your friends open to it, but also learn how to just silently observe and appreciate the differences that makes us unique. Not all people would tell their own cultures. So, in this case, we should just at least silently observe the way they talk, the move, and their lifestyle, so that we can gain a cultural respect. And that's all. Thank you.